guys, we're going to pick back up with fetal death rate. So fetal death rate is on page 109 in your chapter. And we've already talked about fetal death in the prior chapters. A fetal death, remember, is, we've been terming it, as lay people do, as a stillbirth. I've referred to it as a newborn DOA. This chapter expands on what exactly classifies a fetal death. So what you're looking at is your description says a fetal death is defined as a death prior to the complete expulsion or extraction from the mother of a product of human conception, regardless of the duration of pregnancy. And so how we measure it is the death is indicated that the fact that after such expulsion or extraction, the fetus does not breathe or show any other evidence of life, for example, beating of the heart, pulsation of the umbilical cord, or definite movement of voluntary muscles. So we are determining if that is present at birth. If it's not going to be considered a live birth. Instead, it's going to be considered a fetal death. And then in the second paragraph, because fetal deaths are not considered patient deaths, they're not included in other calculations, but instead calculated separately, because like traditional DOAs, they are not going to be admitted for treatment. All right, so what you're told in the third paragraph is both intermediate and late fetal deaths are what constitute what is commonly termed a stillbirth. So I'm going to scoot the book down to table 6.2 that's referenced above, and let's talk about classifications of fetal deaths for a minute. So you've got three different classifications, early, intermediate, and late. You see in your formula that we're only going to be dealing with intermediate and late fetal deaths. So we don't control the formula, but I'm going to explain to you why we don't consider earlies. So take a look at the length of gestation. The length of gestation and the weight of the fetus are what you have to know or memorize. So write that out here in your book. You're not going to have access to that on your chest unless you're using your book, which you shouldn't be using your book, but I can't help you with that. So you would need to know the week's gestation and then the gram weight to be able to answer some of the questions. And you wouldn't have it at your RHIT exam either. So an early fetal death is considered to be less than 20 weeks of gestation. So when you're thinking about a pregnancy in less than 20 weeks of gestation, the main reason that we don't count it in our fetal death rate is because not every expulsion is recorded. So what the heck does that mean? So what that means is when a mom has a miscarriage and it's less than 20 weeks, she may miscarry at home. There's no record of it. There may be a record with the OB, but there's really not much more to go on. Other than that, and I know if you've been pregnant and had a child, you're probably shaking your head, but there are some people who don't know that they were pregnant or realize that they had a miscarriage before 20 weeks of pregnancy. I know that's 4 months, but in any event, so that's some of the reasoning behind why we don't classify early fetal deaths. And the state of North Carolina follows these rules. And so we believe in the state of North Carolina that a hospital is responsible for counting and reporting intermediate and late fetal deaths. And they must match 20 completed weeks of gestation and the gram weight for intermediate, 28 weeks of completed gestation, and over 1,000 grams for late fetal deaths. So fewer than 20 weeks, less than 20 weeks, we're not counting. All right, so that's an explanation about what you see there and why. So your formula is total number of intermediate and late fetal deaths for a period multiplied by 100 over live births, total number of live births plus intermediate and late fetal deaths for the period. Why live births and not discharges? Well, because we're using live births because every baby had the potential to be a fetal death. That's why. Whether that's a good explanation for you or not, but that's why. All right, so let's go ahead and look at 615. Let's try to work some of that out, right? So 615 is asking for community hospital reported the following statistics for the month of February, calculate the fetal death rate, and round to 2 decimal places. So community hospital and midwifery service, you've been given live births, newborn discharges and deaths, and then you've been given your fetal death information. So if they want us to calculate the fetal death rate, we're going to go for the total number of intermediate and late fetal deaths. So that's going to be 4. 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3 multiplied by 100 over, remember our formula says live births, 37, plus intermediate and late fetal deaths. So hopefully that's how you set the problem up. I know this is an odd one, and I'll have it in the back, but I'm going to go through it. 15.91 is next. So let's look at 616 using the information in the table below. Calculate the newborn mortality rate, fetal death rate at community hospital. In this exercise, deaths are included in the discharges, and they want you to round to 2 decimal places. So unfortunately, our table is on 2 separate pieces of paper, or 2 separate pages, which makes it a little difficult when I'm trying to record this and show you, but I'm going to adjust and see if we can get it all in there. So the first one that we're asked to calculate on 616 is the newborn death rate. So the newborn death rate is on page, sorry guys, if I'm sick, I'm looking back these pages. So that's the end. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing when you're trying to find the newborn death rate. Are you screaming out the page? Oh, good Lord, for heaven's sakes. Hang on one second. Oh, Lord. Let's go to trustee appendix A. Can't find it here. Newborn mortality rate. Total number of newborn deaths for the period over newborn discharges. All right. So let's come back over to 616. We need the total number of newborn deaths. 3 multiplied by 100 over the total number of discharges, which we were told that the deaths are included in the discharges. So we're just going to use 306 and not worry about adding anything back to it. So that's going to be 0.98%. The second one asked us to calculate the fetal death rate. So for the fetal death rate, where that one is, right? It's right here. Total number of intermediate and late fetal deaths for a period. So intermediate and late fetal deaths, 4 plus 2 multiplied by 100 over our live births, 37, plus intermediate and late fetal deaths. So that's how it's set up. Hopefully you've got 1.92%. All right. So, for the rest of the chapter with these cancer mortality rates, if you went through them and calculated them, that's great. But remember, I said in an earlier video, from a population perspective, this is really extra. I'm not going to test you on population. So any of these that kind of dealt with population, you're not going to have to worry about calculating them. But in 6.17, they do ask you to work through the table and calculate the death rates for each type of cancer. So not going to do population, but you might be asked to do something like this. And you didn't see a particular death rate for cancer, right? So in this particular situation, you're going to use actual over potential, right? Actual over potential. So we're going to set up one. This is 6.17. So I know you have access to the answers in the back of the book, but we'll still set up the rest. So 6.17, we're going to look. So 6.17 says you've got 15 deaths due to breast cancer. You're going to multiply that by 100 over the potential to have 311. And so your answer there is 4.82%. So that's the setup for that one. And in the back of the book, you're going to have the rest of it. So you should be pretty good to go. So we are going to scoot on over to 6.18, where you would not have that in the back of the book. Take a look at that one. So 6.18 says, using the statistics in the table below from a multi-hospital system, calculate the cancer death rate for each hospital listed and then for the entire system. In this exercise, the deaths are included in the discharges, and they want you to round to 2 decimal places. So let's do urban. And these are just pulling the information out of the table and popping it in the formula. So I'll set urban up for you. 207 for your number of deaths, multiply by 100 over your potential, 15,634. And hopefully you got 1.32%. So rural, I can say that word. Can y'all say rural? Rural hospital is 2.48%, and suburban is 2.80. So hopefully you can set these up and work through them and see if you can get them right. And then total is going to be 1.75%. Hopefully you got all those right. 6.19. Still the same. You're asked to calculate the death rates for the individual types of cancer. So I will set the first one up on 6.19. Remember, you have the setups and the answers in the back of the book, but we'll go through it here. So deaths are included in the discharges. We're going to round to 2 decimal places. So for 6.19 oral, we had 1 death multiplied by 100 over 24 discharges. Or, hang on a second, I'm going to flip my page. 4.17%. All right. So that brings us to the end of chapter 6. And hopefully you have worked through your workbook. It's imperative that you're working through your workbook and testing these out before you get to the worksheets. Don't ever skip the workbook and start with the worksheets. You'll be completely confused because the worksheets have advanced information in there. I'm sure you picked up on that by now. That isn't necessarily discussed in the chapter, so you need some extra practice before you get to the worksheets. So that should do it for your lecture videos for chapter 6. Thanks, guys.